So good morning, everybody. Today, here we are in Computer Science 1010 and ES 1060. The date is September 11th. And one of the first things that I would like to do today is to just take a look at our schedule so that we can, you can ask me any questions that you have. And then the second thing I'm going to do is to talk a little bit about programming in Matlab. So first of all, we are working in lab on the onboarding system for Matlab, and that is actually due today by 11:59 p.m. So you need to send me a screenshot of your onboarding modules with each shown as complete. When you are done with the Matlab onboarding, there's a certificate that you can just print out. You don't even have to print it out physically, but you can save it as a PDF file and then send that to me. Then by Wednesday of this week, the pseudocode for the temperature conversion problem will be due. And then for those of you that are in Computer Science 1010, Friday, the flowchart for the conversion problem is due. Now, for engineering ES 1060, you do not have to write flow code or flow chart, but it can be quite helpful. The one thing I want to point out is today we have lecture in lab. Monday we'll have lecture. Friday, Computer Science 1010 will have lecture. On Monday, September 18th, we will not have class or lab because I will be off campus. There was a K-12 computer science or K-12 education initiative in the state of Wyoming. And it's about competency-based education. And so I'm a member of the Professional Teaching Standards Board in Wyoming, and we've been invited to a kickoff in Casper to get started with that. So I need to attend that. So that's why I'll be absent. It'll just be for the one day, but I will be available by, of course, by email and text if you need me. And I think at that time, we're just going to be working on our actual code. The code for the computer science problem will probably be due Wednesday of next week. So I'll get working on that and I'll have it put up for you as well. But no class or lab on the 18th. All right. So, so just so that we are all aware of the schedule, that's where we're going. So as far as the schedule, what's due today, what's due Wednesday, what's due Friday, does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. Well, that's what I like. I hope everything is just like going just smooth as silk and that we're making sure that everybody's on the same page. So today I want to talk a little bit about coding in Matlab. And there's a couple of things that I want to introduce you to, but I'm going to write a little program today and I'm going to do it cold, which means I haven't done any of the things that I've told you to do. I haven't written pseudocode and I haven't written the flow chart. So I'm going to start that today. But basically, the one thing that I want you to know when you code, those of you that have worked in languages already know this, how often does it work right the first time? Never. That's right. Okay, good answer. Yes, that's what I like to hear. So it never works right the first time. If it does, I would almost, okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret. All right. The secret is my colleague at Sheridan College is the gentleman who's going to be speaking on Zoom to us this Friday. His name is Mark Tony. And we were discussing, we meet every couple of weeks about the software development program that we're working on for the state of Wyoming right now. And we were discussing within the group how, like sometimes how are we going to allow AI, artificial intelligence to, like ChatGPT or Bard, Google Bard or whatever into our programming. And Mark said, and I just thought this was the smartest thing ever. He said, I don't care how you cheat. if a student cheats, AI is just the same as if, you know, your grandfather is the hottest programmer on the planet and he writes your code for you. And he says, however you cheat, I can tell because when you write your code, and I see when you were in the system and how long it took you to write the code. If you drop the code and it's perfect, we're going to have a discussion because that just never happens, right? So, so if you do that, just let me know and I'll just give you a Genius star and give it, you can put on your laptop or whatever. But basically, rewriting code or debugging code is 82%, and I'm making that number up. But debugging your code is very important. Now, everything that you do up until and through the pseudocode and the flowchart, for those of you that are in Computer Science 1010, is all going to be the same no matter what language. And then after you know where you're going, which is basically what happens where you get to that point, the next thing that you want to do is to write your program in the language of your choice. So I'm going to do this online because you guys will have the icon from your lab. When you log into a lab, you'll have the MathWorks icon, which I'll show you here. Let me just go ahead and share the screen with everybody. Okay. But sometimes we have to log in. You can always create an account online as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save my password. And this is just my online account. Okay, there we go. All right, so basically I have a trial version and I'm going to see if it will open for me. There we go. And I would like to access MATLAB online. Okay, and you can see that I have some programs that I have already written, and I can also install MATLAB from this icon, and it always tells me I have like 10 days remaining on my trial or something. And I don't know, it just keeps on going. But I have a few programs that I have written, and I'm just going to bring up something that doesn't work probably into my MATLAB environment. Okay. Someday, see if it comes out. All right. So if you've been working with this, you probably have some sort of an idea of how this looks. You have your files over here, and then you have the values for your what decides from you start. You have the values for your variables. In my case, they show up on the left. I can't remember if I customized it, if they show up on the right normally, but it's easier for me to look at them on the left for some reason. I think because I just work on my code up here in the middle, and then my eyes just flash down to the lower left, and it works out pretty well. So let's see. Okay, so let's take a look at, I'm in the command window, and let's go ahead and do a new script. All right. So I'm going to do something here. I just want to talk a little bit about this before I get started. This is what I am going to attempt. One of the classical statements in programming back from the 1970s or 1980s is a little program that people usually write. I don't know if has anyone ever seen this before? Hello World. Okay, yes, some of the programmers have. So basically, the idea behind this is before you tell a machine what to do, it's really just asleep or it's not really conscious. It's not really ever conscious. But basically, the Hello World program is a little program that starts out to just print out the term hello world, just to show that your code is working. So in my case, I would say what I would like to do is to allow this to be a little expansive. but I would like the user to be able to input whether it is morning, AM, or PM, and then of course, or anything else. And if the user inputs AM for the time, then I would like the computer to say, good morning, world. And if the user inputs PM, I would like the computer to say, good afternoon, world. And if it says anything else, I would like it to say, hello, world. All right, so you can kind of see what we're going to do. This is a little bit, if I talk about pseudocode or flowcharting, when I start the program, the next thing I would do is input some sort of a string. Maybe the string will be time of day. Now, at this point, you need to, in other words, that would be my variable. At this point, you need to check to see the parameters of your program, what it accepts as variables. Matlab may only accept capital letters, small letters, numbers. I don't think it accepts special characters. So you just have to check that to make sure that you put in a valid variable type. And then you write into that variable time of day equals whatever they input. So it's going to input AM, PM, or anything else. So let's just say not AM or PM. Okay. And then if it inputs this, we want it to print good morning, world. If it inputs this, we want it to print good afternoon, world. And if it inputs anything else, we want it to print hello, world. All right. So any questions about that so far? Okay, so let's go back to the programming environment. Let's see, I think I need to share my screen here. All right, so right now I have nothing, right? I just have a blank screen. So the first thing I want to do is to put in some comments. And if you use the %sign, that tells Matlab that this is just something I'm saying to myself. So a comment for me would be slightly, well, let's just start with a regular hello world program. Let's just say the classic hello world program. So that means that you can input anything, right? So if we think about that, we're going to put in some sort of a variable. And I believe the command is to type. We're going to do an input. And we're going to tell the user something like, I believe it looks like that. This is going to be a prompt for us. Say something to the computer. Let's just say something to Matlab. Okay. And then whatever that is going to be, we're going to call it some variable. So maybe we'll call it S, just because that's kind of where it goes. Input prompt S. Okay. Then after that, whatever the user types in, we want to display a string. Let's say, I'm trying to think about how to do this. Display, I don't even know if this is necessary at this point, but we're going to display some variable S, which is going to be that string, which is hello world. Let's say S equals string, and then display S. Let's see, S equals, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Hello world. and then display S. All right, let's see what happens, shall we? We're ended with a program. Do we need to put an end after that? And let's see what happens. If we run that, oh yeah, I got to title it something. Let's say classic hello. All right, now let's see what happens. Invalid expression when calling a function or indexing a variable, use parentheses. All right, so where is that? Maybe, oh, I didn't close my parens here. Let's try it now. Illegal use of the word end. I don't know why. Let's try and cross it off. Run it again. Classic hello world. It's still got the illegal use of the word end, so let's just change that to a thing like that and see what happens. Say something to Matlab. All right, so it just displayed my character type. And then let's see, how about this? Let's just do this. Say something to Matlab. Just say hello world. Hello world. There you go. How's that? That's it. So now what I was talking about earlier, maybe I won't do this, but we could do an if statement. So for example, now that we know this works, all right, the next thing to do is, let's go ahead and do this. And why do we have parentheses around that? So I would like those parentheses to go away. Maybe I don't need them here. Let's find out. Whoops. Hello world, let me try it one more time. Yeah, see, it doesn't like that. Try that. There. Okay, so it just wants, I think I need to have something else. Maybe if I do this, let me try this. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. This is what I kind of mean by the debug thing. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Missing multiple, it thinks it's a multiplication problem. So the next thing I would have to do with this is to figure out what it doesn't, I mean, because I don't want it to really display those parentheses or those little single single dots there, but I have to have something there or it won't, it's not going to do it. So, but that's kind of a classic hello world problem. So let's do something a little bit different. First of all, I'm going to save this. Okay. And then I want to make it a little bit different. I think this is a little too ambitious, but let's do this. Control V. So I'm just going to copy this over here. I'm going to save this as enhanced hello world. All right. So this time I don't necessarily, I want it to say something to Matlab and then it's a string, right? Oh, I should change my variable name there. Okay, I see that. But let's see what happens. Let's say if S equals AM. I don't know if it's going to help. Does it want us to do this? AM. Do I need to have parentheses around that? Then S, I'm going to do a different one. Let's see. SP equals good morning world. Let's see if this happens. Or if S equals PM equals good afternoon world. And then we need to have, if anything else happens, I believe the command is else if. And then we would say P, oops, it likes it to indent there, but P equals hello world. It's going to do that variable switch. And then we want to display P. Right? All right. So let's see what happens. Matlab can only run files with a valid file name, and there's something wrong with my file. Oh, I know, because I've got spaces in it. Save as. Matlab doesn't like spaces in file names. Let's try this. Okay, now let's see what happens. Incorrect use of this operator. Is it an is? Assign a value to a variable and compare for equality using that. All right, so let's see. Let's see what happens if I get rid of those. And then let's see. Incorrect use of the operator. Is it an is? Type equals input S. Right. All right. Type equals input. S equals, okay, so then let's do something else here. Where am I going? I think I'm going wrong right here. If type equals if oh type equals 8 now. Let's see what happens there. No, it still doesn't like the way I'm using the equal operator, do you see? But so this would be the thing that I will do, that I would have to work on and make it come up. Does anyone have any ideas for me? Okay, so this is where the cans of Coca-Cola or the energy, the Red Bulls come in, because when you get to something like this, then you get to go back to your office and mess with it until it starts working. All right, so we have one little bitty code that works, this one. And all I have to do is say anything to it, and it tells me hello world. Now I put a 2 in it accidentally. But in order to make the enhanced hello world, I'm going to have to mess with that code a little bit. All right, so you guys have any questions or comments at this point? No? All right, so this is just a start on getting into that MATLAB environment. The one thing that I just want to go through with you a little bit here is, if we take a look at the MATLAB environment, this is maybe a little bit different from what you see, but you will have all of your files probably saved to a MATLAB drive, or it's possible that you could add a folder. It may be on your student drive. So like when I do this from my regular program, I can store it here, or I can copy them and store it to my hard drive or my virtual drive. So then down here in my workspace, it tells me a little bit. My S value is whole world, and it's character class. And I have an SS here for some reason that is also a character class. And then the command window comes up down here. Now, if I had a more complicated program, there might be some notes over here that it would tell me what was going on with my code, but also that will come up in the command window when you want to run the program. The other thing you can do is to use, if your program is not working, you can use the step code, and you can step through, and it will take you to the line where it perceives it's an error. Now, MATLAB is not, it's always correct about, MATLAB is always correct about MATLAB. It may not be correct about what you're telling it to do. So you can use that to interact with the program in order to get it to do what you want it to do. But it'll help you clear up your code. Like I've got something wrong with my equal sign, doesn't know what it is. So I need to go back and look at the code and make sure that I have that correct before I'm able to write this code. All right, any questions? All right, well, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I'm just making sure I don't have any chats, so I'm good.
I do have a question. If we do have like significant trouble with a code error and no matter what we do and we can't figure it out, we can come to you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Michaela, if you look on the bottom of my emails, there is a link to Calendly, which is my scheduling program. So you're always welcome to come to my office, but you're also welcome to just schedule a half-hour appointment with me and we can work on it on Zoom as well. Or if you schedule through Calendly, and you want to come to my office, just send me a note that says you want to meet in person. Okay?
Thank you.
You bet. Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and quit recording, and then I will see you guys for lab today, this afternoon. And as far as I know, we're still going to be in 135. I need to check the equipment because we had some equipment malfunction last time. So I'm going to check and make sure that we're good to go. And if not, I'll move the room, but I'll put a note on the door. And by 11:59 tonight, have your certificates for the Matlab onboarding, and we'll move forward. All right. Have a great day, everybody.